So we're talking about top tips.
Tips?
Sounds similar to me. Welcome to the Zen Properties Podcast, a podcast about building long-term wealth and cash-flowing businesses through real estate. Dive into interviews with industry legends, content packed with actionable tips and relaxed banter. We are Mac and Maggie Daring. Please enjoy the show. Hi guys, what's up? This is Mac and Maggie Daring from Zen Properties Podcast.
Hi there.
Hello, Maggie. How are you?
Yeah, great. How are you?
And never better, thank you. You look amazing.
You too.
Okay, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, we run a podcast platform and a small development business. In that business, we have a few assets now. So we have 3 flats, 2 houses that we own, 12 service accommodation units that we rent, and we purchased the first service accommodation unit, a big ass house in prime Cotswolds location. And also we are working on the conversion to 9 bedrooms HMO as we speak. Yep. So that's us. You can find us pretty much everywhere. So if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe. I know everyone is asking that because it really makes a difference. I hate asking that, but it really works. Okay, so it helps other people find us. So thank you for that. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and pretty much everywhere else.
Right, yeah.
Right. Okay. So today we'll be talking about what?
Well, the top tips, about how to run your service accommodation efficiently. So everything we've learned over the years, we're going to just, give it to you today.
So we're talking about top tips.
Tips?
Sounds similar to me. Okay, so guys, tip number 1, go big or go home. What do we mean by that? If you have a small portfolio, like a tiny portfolio, if you have like 1 serviced accommodation unit or 2 serviced accommodation units, you are probably still learning and you are probably inclined to manage them yourself. And if you manage them yourself, these units, it's a massive pain in the ass. It can be very time consuming depending on where you are. And self-management of party magnets, like in central London, bigger properties, can be exhausting to the point where with just 2 or 3 units, you are pretty much maxed out and your mental capacity is non-existent anymore. So that's your small portfolio for you. You can outsource it, right? So there's 1 or 2 units, but at this point, probably your property is not optimized because you haven't done enough of it to know how to do a pricing structure and how to make it work financially every single time. But outsourcing to the third party, typically, is a cost of between
15%, right?
10,
10,
even no 10. I've never seen 10. The cheapest I've seen is 12% from PTP for their students, and then the typical price is 14 is the cheapest outside of that I've seen. 15% is market standard, but Pillow Partners or something like that, it goes up to 20%, and they all suck. Okay, so
they take their commission first, and whatever is left, it goes to you. And normally, it's obviously because it wipes out all the cash flow. There's not a lot left. That's from our accounts, right?
Because like this 20%, it goes from what? From the turnover or from the net profit?
It goes from the turnover, right?
Exactly. So it doesn't matter if it's a good month for service accommodation or a bad month. The management company always takes their cut, and it's a lot of money. And then whatever is left after paying all the expenses, rent, mortgages, whatever, that's what's in your pocket.
So it's almost like they don't really have an incentive, right, to perform better, to make your guests happy, because they are going to get the same commission every time.
True. So it hits your bottom line immensely. Alrighty, so that's small portfolio. Okay, so let's assume that you want to grow it. That's where we are now. So we've grown portfolio to like 12 units, 13 soon, something like that, or maybe 11, 12 soon. I've lost count. So how does that work? If you have a big portfolio, Maggie, do you still outsource it to someone? Would you personally outsource your portfolio to a management company?
I wouldn't.
Why not?
Because of what I've just said, right?
Yeah.
They don't have an incentive.
Okay.
So I would personally create your own management team, and create a person who manages all the comms to begin with, to take to offload you, because that will be the biggest pain, because that's 24 hours a day, right? You have to be available, especially if you want to get a super host. I know you like to be a super host.
So just before we move on, the super host is a status on Airbnb that is very, very important for positioning of your listings. To become a super host, you need to host like, I don't know, like 10 stays, 100 stays, I can't remember, but you need to host a few stays, have no cancellations or less than 1% from the top of my head, and you need to maintain 4.8 out of 5 rating.
Exactly, which means you can't really relax over the day. You have to be glued to your phone and whatever you do, whether it's a family event, however special it is what you're doing, you have to be available, and it really impacts your well-being, I would say, right?
Yeah, and family life. Yeah, and romantic relationships.
Well, that's what I mean, like 24 hours a day, right? So you have to be on the ball, and you have to respond within 2 hours to 1 hour, was it?
Well, the sooner the better, because if the guests, they have the hot tub that doesn't work and they book the property because of the hot tub, you need to fix it on the spot. If you don't, then you will have to offer them partial refunds. And the partial refunds, it's not 5%, it starts at 10%, sometimes it goes to 15, 20, or even 50% of a refund, and it's a pain in the butt, big time, right? And it hits the bottom line even more than the management company at that point.
Right, exactly.
So you need to be fast.
So it's good to have people that would be working for you, and they would be managed comms, especially whether it's evening or morning, whatever, in the middle of the night, if there's a party going on. And secondly, obviously you need to come up with a good plan of how you want to remunerate them, obviously to keep your staff incentivized again.
And also that's one of the 2 biggest differentiators between outsourcing your portfolio and having your own team that manages your portfolio, the remuneration. So we said like 15-20% is what goes to management company. That is not yours. When you set up your management company, we currently have a fabulous property manager that earns 2% of turnover commission. And that makes a massive, massive difference to our bottom line. And it's still a chunky amount of money because we are running a high-end portfolio. So our turnover is crazy high. So this 2%, it can be pretty much the same as running the same number of assets that are lower end for the contractors.
Exactly,
So the commission will be similar, but it's a much smaller chunk of our turnover, of our profits that we pay for our own team. They still have a good salary, but it's not as much as we would have paid to the outside management company. And another massive benefit, probably even bigger, is the quality. Because if you have your own team, then they do what you told them, right? So you have your systems, you have your experience, you have your expectations, you have your standards, and they just have to do.
But you're one team, so it's very different work relationship, and obviously we've got them on our WhatsApp. It's not like they're like this part of the bigger team, and you need to give them a call, go through a call center, whatever. They are working with you, and the communication is so much quicker, right?
And of a higher quality, and guests are happier as well. So that's a very important thing. And on top of that, if you outsource your portfolio, it's unlikely that the management company will be sending resources frequently to the site to check if everything is amazing, if everything works perfectly, if it requires any maintenance, any repairs, any shit like this. If you have your own team, you set the rules. So we have quarterly visits, 2 of them. First quarterly visit per property is where property manager goes to the property to check everything, to prepare the list, the checklist, and then second visit is where the property manager organizes the maintenance team, painters, whatever is required, plumbers, electricians, to come back to the site and repair everything that he's repairing. And that's super, super important. Also, when you have a big portfolio, you probably already have systems that are working perfectly for you. So what systems do we have, Maggie? We've got quite a lot of documentation.
Loads of checklists, first of all, right? So obviously we've got a checklist for the cleaner, we've got a checklist for depending on the process. So actually, let's go back to launching the property, right? We've got loads of checklists to order things for furnishing, right? That's to begin with. And then when it comes to maintenance, again, we've got checklists for that, for the cleaners. And we've got, the systems, we've got, the systems that we use, right? Again, we've got some frameworks for that. That's very important.
And the documentation for the contractors for launching,
Oh,
for
yeah.
renovating the property.
Of course.
So this is like one of the
They know
biggest documents.
exactly what to do, what wall, where this picture is going to be hung, what color, what paint. They know the paint number. They know everything. They know by now, because we've done so many projects together, and we don't come up with the new design every time. So we simplified it. We've got one design. It may vary a little bit, but they know what they are doing, right?
Yeah, true. So basically, like before we start doing anything, we go to the site with the contractors, probably like more than once, probably twice. And I, as a main designer with Maggie, typically will go to the site even more. So we need to have like few hours a design meeting on site and decide on everything, like what design is applied to what bedroom, how many beds, what size of beds, what layout of beds, where does the vanity units go, what type of vanity units, do we go chrome, do we go black in bathrooms?
Yeah, but it's all standardized, right?
Yeah,
We do have our main framework, and to your point, to the point just now, our contractor, they know the bulk of it, and anything that is slightly
they're
different.
great, like our contractors, they're like,
Yeah,
like
amazing.
designers now.
Yeah, but anything different due to the character of the property, obviously you can't do the same thing because the layout is different, first of all, and certain characteristics of the property are different. So, but this, like, let's say 30% can be a bit like different or changed.
Yeah, it can change.
Then obviously you need to add on to that to your workload, but the bulk of it, it's standardized, and we've got this all written down. We've got templates, right, with pictures of the product and links and everything else. So that's your system in place.
Yep, and when you have the systems, you can be quicker, more streamlined, and more predictable. And you know the
reuse
cost
it.
up front, and then you know where to buy everything from. And you can even have your team to create the ordering sheet based on your design, and then order it for you as well. So you can keep outsourcing smaller tasks that are deemed to be low-value tasks. So creating a design that fits the property, I would say, is a high-value task. But creating a sheet to order the stuff based on the design is a low-value task, and you can outsource that. We are looking at doing it right now. Outsourcing these things.
Correct.
Okay, also like when you have a big portfolio, you have a lot of reviews, a lot of guests. So we've hosted like 1.1 thousand stays so far. We have a lot of reviews, and we maintain Superhost across like how many 3 different Airbnb accounts. We are very highly rated everywhere, and it also strengthens your positioning. And it's very important for the algorithm to pick up your property when people look for something in Cambridge. So they will find you first. Actually, we've lost the property in Cambridge, so we have shit in Cambridge. And serviced accommodation, guys, is a very time-consuming thingy anyway. So when you build your portfolio, you can very quickly make it a job, right?
Yeah, it's like a
Full-time.
full-time job, basically. So whoever says that it's it's just like a part-time job, or it earns the money while you sleep, yes and no. It requires an awful lot of your input.
Yeah, just as a comparison, working for a corpo is a walk in the park in comparison.
Yeah, so whoever online advertises it as such an easy, low sort of workload, part-time, or also like a second job, it's not, unless it's just one unit, right?
It never is.
So I would say a single mom or whoever has got a very busy life, I wouldn't recommend it to like a best friend and doing it on their own and then building your sort of life earnings on it.
No.
That's my true advice.
Yes. So that was first tip. Go big or go home. So yeah,
Exactly.
We would recommend going bigger if you're very serious. However, it's very difficult. So be mindful of that. Tip number 2.
Right, so tip number 2, go high end. Now that's our recommendation. Obviously, we know people who focus on the contractors market.
Yep.
And
quite successfully, and they figured their strategy out. Yes, it can be, it's a very different market, and it can be profitable, but obviously you focus on different things, and you just have to create a shitload of them, right? Yeah, it's a volume game, isn't it?
Exactly.
So when you can have we have like 12 units and we have a turnover of like getting close to 1 mil a year, or we will cross 1 mil in the next 12 months.
We will, yeah.
With 10 units for contractors market, you will have 10K, okay?
So it depends what you really want to do.
Or
so
100K, not 10K.
Obviously, fewer high units will outperform more cheaper units financially. So what we do, we focus on creating less units, but a lot on a very high standard and providing a higher sort of more luxury, not
I wouldn't call it
luxury, more
luxurious.
high-end
Yeah.
experience to our guests. And we've got a lot people coming to London or to other prime locations from China. So a lot of wealthy young people as well,
Or
right?
older people visiting their kids studying in London.
Exactly. So a lot of foreigners, and they don't mind paying more. So that's where we focus. We focus on a bit of less bookings, but more money being charged for it. And we don't mind investing in more quality furnishing, in more amenities. Obviously, you need to spend a lot more to begin with.
Just let's put a number to this a lot more. A typical contractor's unit, it costs anywhere between £5,000 and £10,000 to launch. Okay, our units, they cost between 50 and 80,000 to launch.
Yeah, and if you speak to any of our friends from service accommodation world, they would say, "You're crazy. Why would you do that? It's
50,
not
80
yours."
is for rent to SA, right? Because
Exactly.
like when we purchased our first asset, we are spending £300,000 on making that
So
up.
when we started, that was kind of our mindset, and we didn't know what to do, whether we should be doing this, spend a bit less, and it was
How
sort
much
of
did
like,
you spend on the first one on Mary Road?
oh, was it 25?
Over time, with addition of a hot tub and everything, it must have been 30k anyway.
Or 30k, yeah, with additions,
Yeah.
£30,000. And for us, that was a lot, right? It was our first unit, but we thought, you know what, let's just invest and then see if the return is going to be as good as we think it is going to be. And it was. So that's our strategy, and we prefer to go high end. Now, it depends what you want to do, right? Do you want to create a lot more? It depends what kind of clientele you would like to go for. We personally think that this is a sweet spot for us. Yes,
It's a difficult sweet spot though.
it's a difficult
If people
one.
pay more, they are expecting more, and you need to provide 5 out of 5 experience every time. Whereas
Yes.
contractors market is more, and it's not,
Less demanding,
it
right?
is way less demanding.
And they're so lovely. The contractors, they don't mind
They
when
will
something is broken. They
fix it
don't
for you.
mind. They're going to fix it for you, because most of the time they are like either the electrician or builder. And they are just, they just so amicable. But yeah, with the more wealthy clients, obviously they pay more. They need this to be done now, and they cannot afford to be in a cold house, of course, right? But it has to be done like within an hour. So that's why it's, to your point, it's demanding.
Yes, and that leads us perfectly to point number 3.
Exactly, to have no comparables. When you choose your unit, obviously you do your research, you check your competition, and then you just have to make sure that you stand out, right? You have to give a better experience, and we do it through amenities. So, for example, we put a lovely hot tub with a lovely gazebo. We put, what else? We've got a gaming room. Right. So think about how you can make it different for your guests, depending on the size of your house as well. Even if it's like a little play area for the kids, if you're aiming for families, right? Anything like
If it's a little
maybe you want to
section with
rent them
swings.
bikes if it's somewhere like in Cotswolds. Maybe you want to think about something else. You have to become creative these days, really, to attract different guests, right?
Would you create a sex room with swings?
That would be quite controversial.
You think?
I think,
What makes you think so?
like, maybe if you just give them like a key in a box,
You find it yourself.
and they just. I
But
don't think you can advertise that online, can you? that could be
I'm not
against
sure.
the
Can
rules.
you? Maybe you can. But the amenities is a key. Creating experience and not just accommodation is an absolute key. So we staff all the properties with all we can, right? So smaller properties that will still have, for as long as you have a garden, you'll have a hot tub. We wouldn't take a property that doesn't have a private garden, that doesn't allow for a hot tub, for example. Arcade machines, this is like a hit of a season.
What else do we do? Obviously, we put a lovely barbecue now. It's electric. It's an amazing one.
Testing it now.
Yeah. So anything you can think of, honestly, right? Because I think these days the gaming room is quite, a lot of people would do that, right? So now you have to become even more creative.
Yeah, but
and think outside of the box.
Like let's say our latest asset in, for example, Oxford that we are launching in 2 weeks. We have games room with pool table, arcade machines, a hot tub, and it's not like a shit hot tub anymore. It's like a rigid hot tub on a decking with a beautiful big ass gazebo, electric barbecue from Ninja, expensive proper one, a swing for the kiddos, an 85-inch TV because we just couldn't squeeze in 98 through
So we
the door.
we go all out, right? The TV is the biggest one we normally can get on the market. I know you like those things, right? You're a geek.
It's not only me, like people, they see it, they're
I
shocked
don't think
by the
everyone
size.
appreciates that. Some people say, myself, this is might be a bit too big. But for
That's what she
gamers, for gamers, I think some people would appreciate. And for those who don't care, then that's fine.
And it's
right?
not just a TV, so at least 100 hertz or more. So the latest ones we are purchasing is 144 with like a gaming grade HDRs. So it's no joke, okay? It's no joke. Your experience of playing on that shit is amazing.
Yeah, but
and then the sound bar, so we have Sonos systems as well. So the sound is amazing, the vision is amazing, PlayStation 5 is amazing, loaded with games. It's just great. It's just great, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's amenities and also it's a design. So obviously how you guys feel in your property is so important. So our design is, I would say it's obviously it's Zen. Our brand name is Zen, so very spiritual, chilling design, but very warm. We've got a lot of like tropical,
Wooden accents.
like it's all natural. So I do hope that it gives a little bit of a special experience. I don't think it's a design you would normally do in your house for day-to-day basis, but it's something
I'm not
that
so sure now,
makes
so I quite
you
like
feel. I love it, but I don't think people like you wouldn't see it in people's houses. So that's why you would get. I think it attracts.
When you look at the
When you
Airbnb
look
advert,
at
it's a
the
fucking rainbow.
advert, it's beautiful and it makes you feel special, and that's. And I feel like this is what this is the way to go.
Yeah, but like look at the colors. We have like the olive green bedroom, then we have a terracotta bedroom, then we'll have a green mustard bedroom. It's like they are
You've
like
got all the earthy colors. But remember, when you select the color palette, it has to be from one palette, right? So you can't go like crazy and choose all the like pink, yellow, you know.
Well, you can.
And a different. Like the whole rainbow. So we've selected more earthy colors, and that was our first property, and then we actually used at the beginning we've had a bit of a help, but that was our choice, and then we sort of built up and evolved and added on a bit more life to it, but still it's within the same palette of colors. So that's like a key, and that's what I would recommend.
Actually, there was like, I just like wanted to add one more thing. So if you don't have any comparables, you can be very expensive because people, they will check your prices, then they will try to check the competition, and there is no competition. No one has all the shit that you have. If you go too high end, if you go into luxurious zone, like, think of marbles and gold and like, the plush velvet shit, that will not attract the enough crowd. So your market will be a niche. You will just be attracting posh people that are super difficult to deal with. Contractors will not stay there. They will feel weird. Okay, so it must be high-end, great quality furniture, but don't overkill it. And also, like, if you have a comparable, then you're entering something that we call the race to the bottom, because when you have two similar units, what is the deciding factor for the guests? Price, right?
Or location.
No, they will look at the price, and then if the price is higher, they will not book with you, they will book with your competition. So you lower the price, and then the competition lowers the price, and it's a race to the bottom based on the price. So no comparables is the way to go. Cool. And you said location. Yes.
So point number 4, select the right location. Depending on location, you then need to look at what kind of property is it going to work in that location. Am I going to have the right crowd interested in that location? And that's so important, because am I going to have parties every day? Am I going to have families there? Am I going to have single business people there? So that is your criteria you need to look at. Right, so the locations we know we've got tested. We've got London Zone 1 or 2. We've got Cambridge. We've got Oxford locations. So all the prime location. Cotswolds as well. It's still commutable for us because we do go personally to check, obviously, throughout the process.
It's easier than London, to be honest.
And Bath, that again is quite close by to Midlands. So these locations we've got tested, but obviously any prime locations would work. Now, speaking of the size of the property, do select the right size. So for London, we would recommend 2 or 3 bedroom.
Yeah, so one is too small and not enough people.
That's a sweet spot we found because you don't really get all the crazy parties. You've got lovely families or some workers.
And a single families typically.
Still.
Because if you have 2 bedrooms, you'll have like a 1 family, 2 parents, 2 kids, and
correct.
a dog.
And a dog. Yeah, we do allow pets, by the way. But for 2 or 3 bedrooms, you've got a safe crowd and it's very quiet, low maintenance, right? The bigger the units, they
low
obviously...
Low maintenance. London is, whatever you do in London is high maintenance.
But the bigger the units, it attracts parties. And it's so true. We've done it. We've been there. Right. So for in terms of the city centres and other big cities, we would say anything above 2 bed is fine.
Outside of London.
Outside of London.
Because if you go 4 or 5 beds in London, you're pretty much screwed.
Exactly. And it cannot be detached. Please don't do that.
It has to be detached.
It has to be it has to be detached. Because if it's detached, right, and you've got one wall, you're basically sharing one wall with your neighbours. You don't want to be there, and it's such your neighbours are going to nag you every day because.
So we've got that, right? So we've got 5 bedroom property in Acton, London, Zone 4. So fairly central, not too central, but still London. And it was pain in the ass from day one. It actually forced us.
I do feel sorry for them because if that was me, right, living next door to Airbnb. I mean, and
even if the guests are not too bad,
night.
They're sharing the bed with the bedroom, the neighbour's bedroom, and even if they just talk, it pisses our neighbours off because the walls are so thin, it doesn't block the sound.
So depending on the type of the building as well, right? Because some of them are made of paper.
London, Acton, it's paper.
Exactly. Right? So please avoid those. I think this is one of the key pieces of advice I would get.
Yeah, true. And in rural areas, it also works. So when you look at the Peak District, Lake District, Cotswolds, it works perfectly all year round. But the property must be bigger.
Bigger. It has to be bigger because then you're aiming at family reunions, any sort of get together. Events even, and we're okay with that, but you've got a standalone building and
no neighbours or not too close.
No neighbours, not too close to neighbours, big garden, and that's our crowd basically. Now in these locations at Cotswolds, anything more outside of the big cities that is more countryside like.
Correct. However, we have 3 exceptions to our rule, right? The early units. So we used to have 1 unit in Churchtown, which is in between Cheltenham and Gloucester, and it was done to a version 1 of a Zen standard. It was still quite high end, and we had both weekend makers, a good crowd. They pay a lot of money, and we had a lot of contractors working for either of these 2 nearby cities. So that was quite a good sweet spot as well.
Yeah, because we've had weekends with families, and then we've had middays, Monday till Thursday, Friday.
And it was a weekend was £400 a night. For weekends, for Fridays and Saturdays, but then Sundays through Thursdays, it was £150 a night. So a massive difference. And it was done on purpose, right? It was done on purpose, like this. And also we have a flat in Gloucester, in a block of flats, brand new block of flats, a high-end flat, done to a version 2 of Zen standards. It's actually very nice.
And we did it ourselves, right?
Yeah, it's a very nice flat. It's honestly one of the best flats you will ever see. And it's just for contractors. It will not attract anything.
Or long-term bookings as well. We've had a few long-term bookings
quite a lot.
there.
A month,
students, from China again, or some sort of Asian countries coming for a month or 2.
Yeah. So it's not so bad. Overall, the small units, the flats, it gives us what profit? Around £1,000. The church was £2,000.
Right? And it's steady. That's the thing. It doesn't fluctuate a lot because it's a flat, no garden. But we still have an arcade machine. We still have a nice TV there.
Yeah, 2
TVs.
Because it's for contractors mostly. So contractors demand TVs. Okay, parties they don't care too much. Okay, so we've discussed the size. We've discussed the location. Oh my God! When it. A very important point. Point number 6, protect your neighbours. So we do care about our neighbours, by the way. You have to, because if you don't care about your neighbours...
And we've got a great relationship with them.
We try.
We do try.
We try.
We make an effort.
Yeah, every time.
Yep.
Not always works though.
Yeah, so what do we do?
Okay, so we do a lot of things. So we want to not get not right people into our properties to start with. So we advertise the noise policies. We have noise policies. So no outside gatherings after 10 p.m. Don't use the hot tub after 10 p.m. A reply to an automatic message upon your booking with I agree to this noise policies. We have noise sensors inside and outside, and they are set up in quite a relaxed way. So you can have a mild party. You can enjoy yourself. You can watch a movie. You can play. You can laugh. But if you do anything too crazy, it will trigger the noise sensor. After 10 minutes, the guest will get a notification. After 20 minutes, the guest and us will get a notification. After 30 minutes, the security team is automatically dispatched.
It beeps, right? And
it beeps, it flashes, and it sends the notification on the platform, airbnb.booking.com, email and SMS. And also, after 30 minutes, we'll dispatch the security team to evict the guests. And that's funny, okay? So it only happened in London. But we have like big guys coming over. They ask very nicely people to leave the property straight away. And then they allow one person at a time to gather their belongings. And they lock the doors behind them, change the lockbox code. And everyone goes home happy. Okay, and the neighbors are protected that way. What else? We have posters. So at the entrance to the garden, you have a poster saying like, please do enjoy your hot tub, but not after 10 p.m. It's not everywhere, but when you have neighbors on both sides, then hot tub is quite loud.
Noisy, yeah.
Even if you don't do any extra noise on top of a hot tub, it can be quite annoying when you start the bubbles at 3 a.m. in the morning.
I mean, if you've got like 4 people in or more, well, I don't know how, we've got 4, right? People in the hot tub, right? And they just talk and laugh. Again, that's quite disturbing.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. And also we have a CCTV at the entrance. So when you have like a booking for one person in a 5-bedroom house in central London, then you probably know that something is not right. Especially that we charge more money for more guests, because you need to, right? So when you have one guest staying over, then the cleaning is quite easy maintenance. When you have a party of 12 people destroying the house, then the cleaning is absolutely a shit show. And when you have one guest booking, we check it on CCTV. We ask them kindly to confirm the number of people, saying that in order to prepare the house for you correctly, we need to know how many guests are staying. So they don't know that we're just like checking if they paid enough money. Because
obviously we need to prep the sheets and there's that and the other.
Yeah,
right? That's
but the reality is like every time the house is prepared for full occupancy anyway, 1 guest or 12 guests, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But for any guest above 2 guests, we charge £25 a night extra in primary locations. So in Gloucester it's 20 quid, in London it's 25. Right. We're roughly halfway through.
Yeah,
how are we feeling?
I'm feeling great, but we are running late.
Yeah.
Home.
Okay.
Right then.
So we've discussed the renting assets and we haven't discussed buying assets. So let's maybe go there. So obviously, if you can afford to buy the assets, it's better to buy them. Not everyone can afford it though. So a few years ago when we started, we just couldn't go and start buying, 1.3 million GDV Cotswolds houses. So we just started renting them out, like, rent to SA strategy. It still works, difficult, but it still works. And you can start scaling that way. But I wouldn't recommend scaling that forever. So don't go crazy to like 100, 200, 300 units. Don't go crazy. I don't think it's worth it because it's risky as shit, okay? So all it takes for the rent to SA to go tits up is the legislation change, and there is no legislation regulating serviced accommodation currently.
Exactly, because it's per council, right?
Yeah.
It's regionalised. So depending, obviously, on your portfolio, if you're focusing on just one location, that's a bit risky. It's better to just spread
100%.
your units. But also, do you want to do serviced accommodation as a rent to SA, or do you want to start buying and save up? You have to make a decision, and you have to check what the legislation currently is. It's getting harder and harder every year. I wish we start doing it a lot earlier, because when we basically started doing it, I thought it was quite late in the game anyway. I think we've managed to maybe take advantage of it. It's still profitable, and I think we can still make it work, but you really have to differentiate.
Yeah.
But it's just hard work. That's all we can say.
It is.
That's why we've done our B2SA purchase quite recently, and we are sort of shifting our strategy a little bit.
It's less risky, way less risky, because like, look, if you have just rent to SA portfolio, and if the legislation changes to the point where you have to license all these properties, you will never get a fucking license in central London.
But we already have a new let, right? We've got extra council tax. Now your council tax is double, and it's only the matter of time when the councils starts processing more and more and
they're starting to pick it up.
Yeah, we've got 2 already.
It's already on double council tax.
They've caught us on 2. So obviously, the council tax would look at, is it your prime residency? If it's not, double tax.
The council tax.
Right, so you pay normally what, 250 pounds, and now you've got 500 quid.
Yeah, so for like shitty Wakefield property, we pay like close to 500 now.
That's what I mean. So
Council
that's
tax.
one of those things, and it just keeps adding on, right? The government changes.
You can move to business rate to avoid double council tax. However, in London, you cannot really, because you have 90 days rule, and in order to switch to business rate, you need to be registered as a holiday
So
let.
piece of advice, if you're starting up, do it straight away. We haven't done it, and it's a lot harder now to change
what
it.
straight away?
Get a business rate, right?
But not in London.
But not in London. Yeah.
Because of 90 days rule, and you need to stay under the radar. Even if you don't have to do anything dodgy, we don't do anything dodgy, but you will not get the holiday let license in London because of the protection of the residential assets. So we will not get the business rate for serviced accommodation in central London. You simply will not. So in London, you have to switch your strategy to 90 days on serviced accommodation and then long-term bookings, mixture of these two, and make it work that way. That's London, basically, right?
Yeah.
You can cheat, but we wouldn't recommend it. You can have multiple accounts.
So the question is, why do we shift our strategy? Obviously, the reason is all the changes in legislation or all the additional taxes. Obviously, that hits your bottom line, but also the big competition as well is becoming quite challenging, depending on...
More and more people are doing R2SA.
Correct.
We can see that. Like the profit this year is like at least 30% lower in the same months versus last year.
It's so unexpected. It's just not steady market, and it depends how you really feel in it. But like, you cannot rely your life income on the business that it's so unstable. I mean, unless you like that. I don't personally. We would like something a lot more stable. Therefore, we've decided to start purchasing our own buy-to-lets.
And then when legislation changes, your buy-to-SA is also a fact, right? But you also have second exit strategies. So
you can sell it, you can
HMO it.
You can create a HMO out of it, or you can just rent it out on the residential basis, and that's quick to do. So it's not gonna get you into trouble financially.
Yeah, that is true. So for example, for Cotswolds, it works as a HMO, and for Cotswolds, it works as a flip. So you can sell it and still enjoy the profit. So that's why we recommend a buy-to-SA.
Yeah, and also there is a lot more tax advantages to it, right? Because service accommodation has a lot, again, a lot of the taxes are quite convoluted when it comes to SA. So you really have to make sure that you've got the right structure, which I'm going to be talking about in a sec. But when it comes to the flip or other strategies, it's just so much easier when it comes to
it's simple as shit. Like, there's nothing complicated about it.
And tax and SA is so high maintenance when it comes to that kind of background strategic planning. And at one point we thought, is it really worth our time? It's just so much energy went into it, right? It's done now, but
like a real number. You launch a buy-to-SA, and at the same time you work on a development. When you finish your buy-to-SA project, like a big one, like in Cotswolds, and when I finish my 9-bedroom HMO, it's the same profit. But the 9-bedroom HMO, to create that, it's way less effort.
Yeah,
the corporate structure is easier, the exit strategy is easier, the maintenance is lower, the risk is lower. So that's why we are questioning if serviced accommodation is still a way to go, even though it's still very much profitable, but it's a lot of work. 80% of my mindset of my mind capacity goes to service accommodation, and 20% to the development.
It's still more profitable,
a little bit.
But is it worth it for the amount of input you have to, and your time and effort and everything?
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself a question.
Okay, so I know that we've covered it in previous episodes a little bit, but now give me a quick example about company structure to run a development business to HMO. So for example, like a conversion from office to 9-bedroom HMO, what do we need to have?
A buy-to-let, you mean?
Buy-to-let, or like let's
say
let's start with something simpler. So a commercial conversion to residential or HMO. How many companies do I need to have there? What are the tax implications? How difficult is it?
Right, it's a commercial, so you're purchasing your own property, right?
Yes.
It's a commercial conversion. Oh, so what we've done with Morsley, for example.
And holding code.
Right. Okay, so that's in addition to SA.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
I just want to compare the company structures very quickly and things that you need to think about to show the audience why service accommodation is so difficult.
Right. So when it comes to super quickly, when it comes to purchasing commercial conversion, obviously depending on the value of the property, you have to pay VAT. And what you really want is to recoup that VAT. And in order to do that, you need two companies. One is a purchasing development company. So that company would purchase and renovate and make the company ready. Once
the asset ready.
The asset ready, and once that company is all done, you then what you then have to do. Obviously, you do have to register for VAT in order to recoup the VAT on purchase, which is what you want. That's what we've done. And then what you do, right? You then make a transfer of major concern. It's basically a legal process. You do that, and you transfer that asset over to your other company, and your other company is a purely residential, VAT exempt, that is just responsible for renting out your asset on a residential basis.
Yeah.
In our example, we purchased commercial, converted that office into 3 flats, and now 3 flats are being rented out on a residential basis, and that is VAT exempt. So effectively what you've done, you've recouped all the VAT you've paid in the first place, and then the end result, including development and material surveys, everything, because you're VAT registered, so 20%, 5% that you've paid. So that's all came back to you, and also the end result is it's a residential property, which means it's exempt, so you're not paying
free
VAT
fucking
anyway.
AST contracts, right?
So easy, right?
Yeah.
Well, easy. We've paid 4.5k for that advice, haven't we?
Fine, but we saved £25,000 and we are keep on reusing that.
But we've
advice.
had a tax specialist advice for that, because we were very confused whether we can even do it. But yes, that is the way.
Show me someone that is not confused when it comes to VAT and taxes in the property world.
Yeah, because it's always the VAT that is a bit of an issue, not a bit.
But the bottom line is, like, you buy the property, VAT register, recoup the VAT on everything that you've done. You transfer the ownership of that property to your OpCo.
Yeah, but it only works
company.
for commercial. It doesn't. It's not going to work if you purchase a residential.
Yeah.
So please be careful. There are different rules and structure for that.
Yeah. So that's B2SA. So now we covered the commercial conversion quickly. So 2 companies, you recoup everything. Life is easy. You keep how many properties you want to keep. ASTs, easy to manage, easy to maintain. Yep. Low effort and high-ish profit. It's really not too bad. So,
but low effort. That's the key, right, guys? You don't want to work too.
But the profit is fucking amazing. Like, look, our Morsley flats. We are at the refinance stage. We expect. Oh, I can eat that spider. We can expect not to pay anything for this 3 flats, so that's amazing. Now, for B2SA, is it also as easy when you buy residential and you convert it to still residential?
So it's not as easy, and I wasn't too happy when I looked into it. So the key difference is that you cannot really recoup the VAT on renovation, and that's when it becomes quite complicated. And I don't really want to go into too much detail, but you cannot. So what we are doing, you could, if your turnover is low, but ours is not. So we are not going to even mess about with it. We've decided for that setup. Now, for that setup, the setup is you're buying residential property and you want to rent it out. Once it's done up, you want to rent it out as a short let accommodation. And what you need is 2 companies. One is a purchasing company and the other one is managing agent company, and you sign a residential commercial agreement between the 2, and that's how you create a tax efficiency for that. And obviously the managing agent is they need to sort of deal with their own taxes, but you as the main company, you don't have to pay because it's treated as a residential let.
It is. Okay, so it sounded quite complicated. So that was for B2SA, that's with the PropCo, OpCo setup, with disconnected parties managing your properties for you.
The key here is that the managing agent has to be a completely unconnected and independent company, right?
So you can't ask
cannot
your
be
mom to do it for
anyone
you.
from your family or, a wife or a niece,
Even
whatever.
even a cousin or something like that. It's like
Cousin, yeah. So you cannot really, it has to be an unconnected person. And the key distinguishment is that, so HMRC cannot see it as like some sort of arrangement because obviously it's tax avoidance. So you have to make sure that it's a third party person. So it's a genuine arrangement and you make sure that they can operate. So they cannot just operate services just for you because clearly, but they're independent, they can set their own prices, they can run the business, they can do other bits and pieces associated with this kind of sector of trade. So yeah, it has to be a genuine managing agent. And yeah, that is the key. Also to that point, VAT, that's one thing. Another one is ATED. It's basically another tax created to when you pay residential property over $500,000, there is this ATED tax, right? And you've got just like that.
So you've got like a stupid,
it's a new thing.
Stupid stamp duty purchasing residential units, which is way higher than commercial or mixed use. So that's one minus buying residential, buy-to-let, whatever, versus commercial or mixed use. Then you have the ATED tax, which is quite high.
Exactly. However, there is an exemption. If you've got if you use two company structure, you're exempt from ATED. You still need to file a return to say I'm not going to pay because I'm exempt, right? So that's B2SA, right? So I wouldn't normally recommend having a purchasing companies and a service accommodation operating company two in one limited company. Have a think, talk to your accountant, how to best structure it, what are the pros and cons, how much you would pay in tax in two different scenarios.
Even if you have two companies and you manage your own assets for a different company, it can still be considered to sit in the Sonder camp, right?
Well, that's a completely different. Oh yeah, I wouldn't exactly. That's Tom's. Obviously, depending on whether it's you've got a contractor,
Tom's tour operator management,
margin schemes. Yeah. Let's just not even go there. But yeah, there is a Tom's exposure, right, which means that you would have to basically pay VAT from the start. Like you even don't have to wait for 90K
right?
threshold.
Yeah.
But there is like that's a whole different story. But I know everyone is aware of it. Everyone is aware of the Saunders case.
That's the thing, not everyone is. That's why we're here.
Right.
Left.
I kind of assume, so if people are not aware of the Saunders case, have a read and speak to your accountant. But if you feel like your accountant doesn't have a clue what they're talking, just find a specialist who specializes in VAT and anyone who has been supporting Tom's and how they can help you structure your business.
True. Correct. Okay, so I think we've covered that for now. We'll still have an extra episode. I know that we say that every episode, but we'll have to have a dedicated episode about the company structures and taxes and VATs and stuff. Maybe we'll even invite someone from the outside for that episode. Let's see what
for
happens.
R2SA, because I don't think we've covered that, right? So we've done
how is it different to B2SA?
It's basically the same as It's basically same as B2SA. So you rent out. You've got a limited company. You rented the property. You've done the app. You pay your rent to the landlord. That's fine. Now the separate bit to it is now you. You need to rent out this property. One is done, it's furnished and everything is lovely, and you rent it out to the managing agent. So yeah, very similar to buy-to-let.
And then you have like some kind of AST contract between.
But it has to be a residential type of contract, and it has to be long term. Now, what happens then? The managing agent pays you rent. So you as a limited company, you pay the bills, you pay maintenance, linen, everything. The managing agent, their responsibility is to rent out your short let, obtain your guests. So they have to pay for the adverts, for the advertisement tools, but pretty much nothing else. There are other setups, but this is the one we've chosen or have been advised to go for. And the managing agent would pay the set rent back to your limited company for renting effectively your flat, because there is a residential agreement, a commercial agreement between you, and that's super important. So whatever is left over, that's their commission, right?
Okay.
For advertising, and that's their job, just to advertise and take that offload. Take that work.
Is it easy, right? How many of you starting the SA business are thinking about having like multi-company structure with disconnected management companies, having to manage your companies and VATs and shit? It's not as easy as the mentors typically make it, okay? If you start growing, it's not as simple
Unless
anymore.
you want to have no profit, right? Right,
Yeah.
so moving on.
Moving on. But this no profit is a very important thing, because if you VAT register your service accommodation business and you manage your own units, you have to be VAT registered. The VAT comes out of your turnover and not what is left as a profit. And this 20% from your turnover typically is your entire bottom line.
So HMRC doesn't care about how much corporation tax you've got. They don't care you've got losses. They don't care you've got 30%, like £30,000 losses. They don't give a Mickey about it, right?
Yep.
They want their VAT, like 20% you have to pay it
From
like
a turnover,
now.
Everything that you get paid through direct bookings, Airbnb, booking.com.
So 20% at face value is basically going to HMRC.
And then everything that is left comes to your account. And then from that account, you pay rent or a mortgage. And then you pay cleaning,
and it doesn't reduce your liabilities at all, right? Because for corporation tax, you still pay what you've earned before deducting VAT.
Yeah,
So
crazy.
it's like tax on tax, right?
It's crazy shit, really.
not
Crazy
great.
shit. Okay. We had a quick chat about the contract. So you said about the commercial contract. You said about the management agreement. So since the most important one for service accommodation, rented one, is management agreement. Let's start with R2SA management agreement between us and the landlord for the property that we do not own. What do we want to have in that contract? Very, very quickly.
Right, obviously responsibilities, but the key thing is to make sure that the rent increases are specifically detailed in the contract.
Yeah.
You don't want your landlord to say, actually, I would like 20% increase this year.
That's happened to us with the first property. I think we had like 32% increase imposed to us by a landlord saying, oh, the rent will increase starting next month. You were paying X, now you're paying X times 0.132.
We had no experience. We didn't even include a paragraph about the rent increases there. So that is the crucial point. I think
we had a paragraph saying that the rent increase will happen at the year 2.
Exactly, but we didn't specify how much. So please do specify whether it's 2%, 5%, negotiate with your landlords, explain why you think it should be.
So basically we were
2%.
Forced to lose a good performing unit because of the rent
They
increase.
basically forced us to, I think they wanted that unit back effectively. So they said 30%
32.
increase.
Yeah,
they
32.
knew it was a killer, and that's how they've managed to get it back.
Yeah, and forced us to sell them our design and setup and everything for like £6,000, and now they are using this property as serviced accommodation. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so management agreement, rent increases, they should be set in stone. However, still remember that people are people, and for now, we've hit the 2 years on free properties, free rented properties, 2 years marks, rent increase marks, and in the first one, we didn't have specified the 5% every 2 years.
But the second one, Gloucester, again, we did specify, but the lady still asked for an increase. It wasn't a lot, so we did it because it was just a.
So she actually for Gloucester, she asked for an increase before the 2 years mark.
Exactly. She didn't even look at the contract. So yes, you do have a contract, and just make sure that you've got all the important things included, such as rent increases.
But now look what happens with Gloucester. We had the contract in front of us, and then she felt she wants to increase the rent before we hit the 2 years mark where we've specified we'll increase the rent by 5% after 2 years. Mm-hmm. She said, I want to have it like after 18 months because I think you should be paying more. And we are waiving the contract, and she says, okay, cool. If you don't give me the increase, I will sell the property. We don't know if she has a real intention of selling the property, but she would be able to evict us based on the intention to sell and still keep it, right? And I wouldn't know. So that sucks. We had it last time in Wakefield, another unit. We had specified 5% increase every 2 years. And the landlord said, okay, I appreciate 5%, but it's actually worth more now because of the market circumstances. will increase it by 15%. Do you accept? By the way, you have no choice.
Yeah.
And
okay.
you know, contract, yes, fine. We have a watertight contract, but then people are people, and then it's up to you how to play it, right? So we agreed because the unit is quite high performing for the location.
Another tip for B2SA, make sure that you've got a minor works contract. It's called a GCT minor works contract, and it protects both sides, but it's mainly to make sure that the delays are being avoided.
Yeah, it has to protect both sides. So, for example, if you don't pay the contractors on time, they are protected. If they don't deliver the work on time, then you are protected. And then who pays for those delays? Like, obviously, these delays will create a lot of loss in profit for your company. Like, you know, money not earned, and then you are sitting on expensive private finance or bridging loans, and then you have fuckloads of interest to pay. And then who pays for that, right? It's not my fault that the contractor has lost a driving license. Should I pay for that? Like that they cannot get to the site timely every single day? It's not my problem, right? So it needs to be outlined in the JCT minor works contract. And the last one, the leases. So now, guys, let me quickly talk about it, because like not many people think about it.
Punchy, right?
Yeah, very, very punchy. So when you purchase a leasehold, you basically have a contract with a freeholder. That's a leasehold property. You have a contract for a property where the owner of the building says, okay, this property is yours to use for 999 years. That's the case with us. So we've got the leasehold, we purchased an office, we've got the single lease. Now we have converted this office into 3 beautiful flats. And what do we have? We have 3 flats with 3 water meters, with 3 electric meters, with 3 different addresses. They're all 100% separate flats, boilers in each, like, you know, separate doors, everything is separate. But we have a single lease. So all these flats, they are on a single lease, and that's a problem for refinance. That we've
kind of makes sense, right?
It kind of makes sense, but like, you know, we've done it first time. I've never expected a single lease on 3 flats when we keep them all, right? To be a problem while refinancing. And the major lenders for residential properties, they are quite unhappy with that setup. So we are in a process of splitting the lease into 3 leases now.
And why do we do that?
Because
the deal was awful.
Yeah,
right?
So
it was very expensive.
We want to use buy-to-let deals, right? Buy-to-let refinance deals. And now we cannot because of a single lease. We can still refinance, no problem.
We can refinance, but it's very expensive.
Commercial lender.
If we split it into 3 flats, it's going to be a lot lower.
£200 to £300 cheaper.
Income is going to be a lot higher.
Yeah, totally. So guys, like if you purchase a single lease property and you split the single property into multiple properties, sort out the leases as soon as possible. Definitely before the refinance, okay? Very, very important, because you'll have problems there. Okay, and we are getting to the end.
Number 10, what's the key when you run your business, Mac?
Yeah, the key to run a business is for business to be profitable, but you cannot know if the business will be fucking profitable unless you run reports, right? So that's very important. You're laughing, but like, you know, I know tons of people. It is pain in the ass because you need to run the reports every single month, right? So you need to know exactly how much money you've made. You need to be able to forecast how much money are you going to make next month, 2 months from now, 3 months from now? What are your plans, expenditures on improvements of the properties, maintenance, all this shit? You need to be aware. Do you have enough
cash flow to pay?
Exactly, cash flow, fucking cash flow. It's always a problem, right? Cash flow is always a problem. So you need to plan for it. Now we've got in our JV with Ethan cash flow for fucking 2 years, okay? To understand how much money we need to spend.
But we also have our cash flow for our own companies, right?
Absolutely. Just to give you an example how important it is, like, you know, 2 years cash flow predicted. We know what to expect from our portfolio. Like, we lower it a little bit, the expectations, not to be disappointed, but it's very, very important.
But and you can use it as a point of reference, right? If you've done 12 months now, and then the next year things change, why have they changed, right? Yeah. So you know that this month you're supposed to be earning 5k a month or something, or 10, but actually you've only got
£100
or 3k.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Exactly. Yeah, so that's the pricing strategy as well, that it needs to be reviewed quite frequently for serviced accommodation, because circumstances change, competition change, everything changes, and you need to stay on top of that. Yes, we are using tools that do that for us dynamically, automatically. We are using price labs for it, for the dynamic pricing algorithms, but you still need to decide how you want to approach. Like, last minute bookings, are they more expensive, less expensive? Far out bookings, more expensive, less expensive? So typically we have like plus 30% for far out bookings 3 weeks ahead and more, and minus 40% in the last 3 days. If your property is empty for the last 3 days, it will go gradually down until it hits minus 40%, at which point we are booked, but the profit is shit, right? So we have a lot of last minute bookings, and this will be a topic for a discussion for us today, for the team. How do we adjust the last minute pricing and far end pricing to attract more far off bookings and less last minute cheap ass bookings? Very important, okay. Then point number 11 about the serviced accommodation. Great tip, actually. Well, tip. That's a lot of tips. It's streamlining your operations. So do not expect to be good at what you do at the first time, like the first year, first month. It takes years and iterations and changing your systems, optimizing your systems all the time. And by systems, I mean fucking cleaning, linen, maintenance. What do? Do you hire linen? Do you buy your own? When you buy your own, how many sets do you buy? Where do you keep them? Who manages that? Who cleans that shit? Is it good enough?
All the hands-on.
Yeah. So that's streamlining operations. So we started with linen hire, then we've deemed it impractical for central London. So we switched to own linen, but own linen is lower quality, for example. So now we're coming back to renting linen through our cleaners centrally. So they rent it for us, but now it's like a super high quality, but it's more expensive per changeover. So it hits our bottom line, but the reviews are higher and the guests are happier. So it's like a fine balance. That's linen. Then maintenance. How much money do you put aside for a maintenance of an SA unit? So the mentors will tell you, oh, put aside £100. No, fuck off. It's not £100. It's way more than that. So our maintenance, the locksmith, lockouts, plumbers, electricians, old boilers in central London, heating systems, heating controls, sinks, taps, and touching up, and broken curtains, and broken hot taps, and broken fucking filters, and block hot taps, and all this shit. It costs you money, a lot of money. And we have concluded that with a fair-priced cleaners that manage your maintenance for you, the maintenance cost will be 25% of all your changeover cost. And that's based on 2 years of running service accommodation, high-end service accommodation, 25%. It's a lot, it's a lot. Now, the guest management, also, like, you need to streamline that stuff. We started with replying to guests, like, manually on a phone, like all the time. I'm sitting on the toilet, shitting, replying to guests all the time. Maggie like, Knox, why do you shit for so long? Because I have my fucking business to run. So that's, that's...
That is so true, guys. It happens every day, a few times a day.
Because we still have our business to run, right?
Right, exactly.
No,
so
but now we have more properties, and we outsourced most of the guest communication to our property managers.
Like, where's Daddy? Is he in the toilet again?
Yeah, running a business, baby. But now you have tools that help you out with guest communication. And even when your property manager manages guest comms for you, it will be best for you to give them good tools to speed up their work, because they will be able to manage more properties with less effort. So now we use Hospitable, for example, one of the great tools. We are now getting into the last point number 12, the tools. So I will mix them both a little bit.
So what do we use?
So Hospitable is like, for example, this is the channel manager. It sits on the back of all the operations. So Hospitable is in the center and gets the Airbnb updates through the API, Booking.com updates through the API, prices from Price Labs through the API. It's like, it all interconnects everything, so you can manage all your guest communication, direct bookings, Booking.com, Airbnb, all this shit from a single platform. And you have AI-based responses. You can automate that to some extent. And if you don't want to automate it, you can hit one button, suggest a response to guest inquiry with AI, and it just creates a fucking response for you, and you just hit send, and the response is sent, and it's done, and you have like, a long message done in like 3 seconds. So that's quite amazing. And also, like, coming back quickly to streamline your operations, the security team in central London is necessary. We don't use them too often, but you need to evict your guests sometimes if they misbehave massively. So that's very, very important, and you need to streamline the process as well. Who calls them? Is it you calling them as the property owner or a property manager at 3 a.m. in the morning, or do you automate it through your cleaners, or does the message go straight to the security team? Can you trust them to go out and evict those guests? So that's also something to streamline and think about based on your circumstances and teams available.
What else, security-wise?
Yeah, so I think that's it security-wise.
We've got our camera at the door, a CCTV, right?
Yeah.
That's important. We do check it. We can do it ourselves.
Yeah. We've mentioned CCTV before, but very, very important. And now going back to the tools, which is the last point, Airbnb, Booking.com, the most used OTA platforms. Expedia, like the VRBO, whatever they're called. Like, we had accounts there, and over the year I had a single booking, and then I had the calendar synchronization issues, and then I had guests from Booking.com and VRBO appearing at the same time at the property. bullshit. So I don't think it's worth it, really. So direct bookings, booking.com, Airbnb, very important. Hospitable, I've mentioned with AI responses. Also, Hospitable manages cleaners as well. When you have a new booking, it sends a message to the guest, it sends a message to the cleaner, it updates the cleaner's calendar, the cleaner's...
It's like a centralized...
Yeah.
How can you explain it if someone who's never seen it? It's like it pulls all the information from different platforms, and it's like your centralized software. So yeah, because it's your go-to tool, right?
Yes, amazing.
That's your, like,
I've stopped using booking.com or
like
Airbnb.
a core of your operation when it comes to software.
Yeah, I only use Airbnb to launch a new listing, but everything else is managed from Hospitable, everything 100%.
And obviously when you update something, it then sort of feeds the information back to you, all the other tools.
Exactly. So yeah, super
Very
cool, guys. Like
clever.
I've checked like 4 different channel managers, and Hospitable by far is the best so far. It is, honestly. Not that most expensive, but it's the most advanced, modern, and API enabled. You can automate shit out of it. Even if the functionality is not baked into Hospitable, if you have time and capabilities, you can automate a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, what other tools? Price Labs. So I brushed on it a little bit.
You did.
Yeah, so Price Lab, guys, is like super important because like you don't want to be keeping track of the local events, local concerts in central London. Of course, like if you have like a major Wimbledon game, the Wimbledon localization, the Wimbledon assets, they will automatically go up in price. And I don't give a shit who's playing. It's like the Price Labs will do it for me. The more
Price Labs would search market for you, right? And it does have current and historical data.
Yes. And access to the AI and access to all the events data and access to the occupancy from other units from different platforms.
It's worth the price as well.
10 quid or 10 euros per unit per month. Come on, guys. It's like, of course, it's nothing for this. Then Minute noise sensors, another extremely important tool. So we have noise sensors outside and inside now. So we've discussed that before as well. CCTV discussed it, and now
Zero. Obviously, you've got whether it's Zero or a different accountancy or bookkeeping software. Again, it's a must-have. But
is it really like anything outside of Zero worth having currently?
There's plenty. It's
that good?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So
I'll take your word for it.
You need to see. Obviously, you will have your accountant, so you have to talk to your accountant, and they normally give you a preference. But the QuickBooks are also quite good. They're the most common used. Although Zero has been increasing prices quite a bit, and to QuickBooks, so people do transfer these days to different platforms. And I think I'm going to look into it myself. Actually.
Okay. Interesting.
Right, because it's just very expensive. But
how much is it? 20 quid a month?
No, these days like 35. So if you want additional functionality like a cash basis for booking, so you can adjust things in bulk. That's a lot more.
But how much time does it save you? Do you care about this 50 quid?
No, I don't really, but it's monthly, right? So
yeah, but it's like it's value that it adds, like it's worth it.
So anything to automate, right? You pay more money.
Yeah,
right. And the last one is Google Suite. It's for me. It takes time to like convert from the old school Microsoft. No. Obviously, it's something I used for work.
1 decade ago.
In full-time employment, but I really got used to it. But I'm okay now with Google Suite. Obviously, it's a free software, right?
It's amazing, yeah. So even if you have like a paid tier, it's like 5 quid a month for Google Workspace, and you have your email, okay? That is like like AdSense stays or AdSense properties. So that's amazing. And then you have Google Meet with no limitations, which is an equivalent to Zoom. I find it like better mobile devices. Its quality is absolutely amazing. Google Sheets replaces Excel, and I find it better, easier to use, better interface.
Yeah,
and
but
as
the
powerful.
only difference is that everything is online. So if you want to save it on your computer, you need to download it, upload it, and that's for me.
Upload what? Upload like Excel sheet.
You need to upload a sheet to save it on your computer, right?
CSV, yeah, you can.
Yeah, but that's the additional step. However, it's amazing because you can share it with your
But you don't use
team.
files, do you? Do you use files anymore, like a physical files? There is no files.
Well, we do use files sometimes for the purchase. You need to save some of the PDFs and so on.
Yeah, whatever, right? I can live with that. You have to do it with Microsoft Sheet as well.
Google Suite is just, and again, it's
Google
free.
Suite is sweet.
So once you convert, that's fine.
There's no coming
You're
back.
converted.
And also like the collaboration is second to none. So you can leave comments, you can collaborate many people of the team at the same time in a document without screen sharing as well. I can see like the history of what everyone has done to the document. So if you fuck something up, you can just recall it from like, I don't know, from the yesterday, 2 days ago, 1 year ago. It's just 2 clicks. Absolutely amazing. And okay, guys, so I think that's enough for today. We've been talking shit for the last hour-ish.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for tuning in. And like, honestly, guys, leave a review sometimes. Be good boys and girls.
Yeah.
And we'll see you back in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks so much for listening. Take care and
Love you.
love you. Bye.
Bye.